I really appreciate you all. And quick introduction, my name is Ishmael Perez. I'm the author of a book that I recently published about 6 months ago by the title of Our Cosmic Origin. And in this book, I reveal information that has not been available for millenniums. It is a contrast to everything that we've ever been taught in school. It is information that is going to help people understand the bigger picture about our society regarding many dimensions, endless worlds, multiple civilizations, and many universes. And it took me about 10 years to research it because it is just dense. The information in that book is very, it's advanced, but yet I wrote it in a way where you could understand it. So one of the things that I like to share, that I would like to ask is, does anybody here know about or has heard about the concept of the star seeds in the Starseed Nation? Okay, we have a few. Does anybody here know about the secret space programs? 3, okay, 4, okay. Does anybody here know about the concept of a galactic federation? Okay, all right, so there's just a few people that have heard of these concepts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin this talk with just the basics. So the basics is, according to scientific evidence, there are billions of Earth-like planets just within our Milky Way, and billions of solar systems as well within our Milky Way. And our Milky Way is one of billions of galaxies. Okay. So bear in mind that there are different types of extraterrestrial races that exist, that have always existed. And one of the things I do in order to give people a concept of the level of spiritual, cultural, and technological development that is associated with these advanced extraterrestrials is I like to describe what is known as the Kardashev scale of extraterrestrial races. According to the Kardashev scale, which was proposed by Nikola Kardashev, he believes that there are different types of advanced civilizations that are so advanced that we don't even compare to them. The first type he calls a Type 1 interplanetary society. And that is a civilization that has learned how to tap the power of their planet. They no longer depend on fossil fuels. They no longer depend on petrochemicals, oil, plants, which is what we've been using for energy in the last thousands of years. They use real planetary power. And they are able to colonize or soar off into space to the closest solar systems to begin the colonization process of other planets and star systems. So they are what you call the beginning space age level of society. The next stage is an interstellar or stellar society. Now, a stellar society is about a few thousand years more advanced than an interplanetary society. Now, they're able to tap into the power of their star and several other stars. At which point, now they're able to soar off into the entire galaxy. So, based on the Kardashev scale, there are a few million interplanetary societies that exist within the Milky Way. And this is validated through scientific research based on topology and high-level mathematics. And the stellar civilization has, they're able to go across the galaxy. They have about a few 100,000 civilizations within the Milky Way, according to the Kardashev scale, that exist, that have access to an entire galaxy. At that point, they're able to work with portal technology, Stargate technology. They have type of technology that we would watch in sci-fi movies, like Babylon 5, Star Trek. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these sci-fi, what are they called, serious movies. So all those movies are designed to disclose a lot of this information, by the way. They don't just make it up. They don't just write it just for fun. It's not make-believe. It's actually, it's real stuff. It exists. This technology is real. Now, the third type of civilization is called a galactic civilization. A galactic civilization is about 1 million years ahead of us. It's about a few 100,000 years ahead of a planetary society, and it's just a few thousand years ahead of a stellar society. So a type 3 is called galactic. Now, what distinguishes a type 3 from the other two is that they are a type of world that is able to harness the power of a galactic, or what they call the central sun of a galaxy. At which point they have access to billions of suns. They have the ability to harness the power of the entire galaxy. Now, according to the Kardashev scale, he's only identifying 3. But as physicists and astro scientists further evaluated the situation, they also came up with the concept of a type 4 and a type 5. A type 4 is a civilization that is intergalactic. At that point, they are able to go into as many galaxies and other universes. They understand the concept of wormholes, of hyperspace, traveling faster than the speed of light, similar to the concept of Star Wars. So a type 4 is universal. That's what they call these types of civilizations. And then beyond the type 4, we have the most advanced civilizations of all existence in the multiverse. And that is called a type 5. Now, at that point, they're able to harness the power of an entire universe, which means they're able to harness the power of all the galaxies and all the billions of solar systems within each galaxy. So a type 5 is the most advanced civilization that exists. Now, besides these different types or categories of advanced civilizations, there are different types of extraterrestrial races that exist within the 5 different categories. So we are considered biological beings, which means that the type of matter or biology that is used to make us is carbon-based. Okay, so civilizations of a type 1 and type 2 are carbon-based civilizations. So, that's why our bodies break down. That's why we age. That's why eventually we die. But as we become more advanced, spiritually, culturally, technologically, well, there's always has to be that balance between technology and spirituality, because in most cases, in many galaxies, civilizations that have leaned towards technological development at the expense of their spiritual development eventually end up destroying themselves. So we learn from those mistakes. So spirituality has to always be at the forefront of cultural and technological development. And so the type of matter or species that exists in the type 2 civilization is a combination of silicon-based DNA or carbon-based DNA. At that point, people begin to live for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So if an extraterrestrial from a type 2 civilization were to come to the Earth and visit us, they would still be physical, they would still look human, but their body would be indestructible. An analogy to use is, the Marvel movies, the DC movies. Thor. Thor has a type of biology that is considered silicone-based as opposed to carbon-based. Superman from planet Krypton. Again, all these movies, they're telling us the truth. They're telling us the truth. Also has a silicone-based physical body, as to why when people, try to kill him, the bullets just kind of bounce right off of him. That's when you begin, that's the result of having a silicon-based type of DNA genetic structure. It is indestructible and you live for thousands of years. So in comparison to humans of a type 0 or a type 1, they were appeared to be as gods. And that is where the ancients went wrong. When the extraterrestrials came, from a type 2 civilization, or even a type 3, who are even more advanced than the type 2, and their matter is just silicon-based. They don't have any carbon-based. They're able to materialize, teleport. I mean, they have all the superpowers. The people of a type 2 civilization are no longer dependent on external technology. They use a consciousness-based technology where they, in a symbiotic manner, they merge their consciousness with the elements.
Do you mean type 3?
Type 3, yeah.
A type 3, yeah. Type 3 no longer depend on external technology. The only civilizations that continue to use external technology, like when we see the UFOs that are metallic and all that stuff, or the UFOs that have been reverse engineered by our secret government, because again, for those that have no idea of the secret space program, our secret government has been developing interplanetary and stellar technology, which is of a type 1 and a type 2, for over 60 years. So we have all that tech. But unfortunately, that tech has only been employed within the private sector. So while we're over here dying of cancer, living hard living conditions, they're over there up in space colonizing, establishing stations, not only throughout the Milky Way, but throughout the entire galaxy. And I know a lot of people, there's only 4 people that know about the secret space program, but yes, we did inherit the technology by means of 2 different methods. One of them was we reversed engineer it, and the other mean was that we did make contact with extraterrestrials back in the 40s and 1950s, and several treatises and several contracts were signed between these extraterrestrial groups and different government factions. So going back to the concept of a type 3. So a civilization of a type 3, the type of matter or biology that the inhabitants use is pure silicon with a little bit of hydroplasma. At that point, they're just light beings. They are light beings. So again, they're using consciousness-based technology. They no longer need external technology. So when we see their ships up in the sky, the ships is an extension of their own Merkaba. It is an extension of themselves. And then, they're able to use that technology, that consciousness-based technology, to travel to the different lower types of worlds that exist in the type 2 and the type 1. Okay, so now that you guys have somewhat of an understanding of the different types of advanced civilizations that exist, I would like to describe or mention the different types of extraterrestrials that have been assisting us from behind the scenes, as well as those that have been impeding us, that don't have their best interests for humanity, that have been trying to conquer us and destroy us. So these 2 types of groups, the negative, let's just talk about the negative. Has anybody here ever heard of the Draco Reptilians?
Yes.
Okay, mostly everybody, good. Okay, so the Draco Reptilians are known as the villains in our galaxy and in most galaxies. They're the ones that have been trying to bring about some sort of a universal, intergalactic, and galactic stellar empire for a long time, for millions and millions upon millions of years. So they originated within a system in Lower Orion known as the Alpha Draconis, and also the Sigma Draconis. And from Lower Orion, these reptilians have been gradually conquering the different solar systems because they are of what we call a type 2, right? They're still using external technology, but they are not spiritually advanced or evolved to use consciousness-based technology. So they depend on only external technology. So from the Alpha Draconis Sigma system, they've been gradually been colonizing the different parts of our galaxy, mainly the Lower Orion region. That's always been, that constellation has always been their stronghold. So we could say that the root of all evil, the root of even where the Illuminati gets their ideas from and their concepts from, originated in Orion, in our galaxy. Orion is where all evil originated before it translated over into our world as Babylon. So those are the bad guys. Those are the villains in our galaxy and in many other galaxies. And working with the Draco Reptilians, we have the Hydras Reptilians, we have the Omicrons, which is a mixture hybrid race between reptilians and insectoids. Yes, people, when we watch movies like Star Wars and we see these bars filled with humanoids, insectoids, mantis, Sasquatch, that's all real. That's all real. So next time you guys watch Star Wars or, any of the Marvel movies, try to see them more as documentaries. Try to see them more as documentaries. The Matrix, especially the last one. That one was dead on. Anyhow. So, other extraterrestrial races that are involved as villains that are working with the reptilians are also known as the Greys. The Greys are those little buggety eyes that we see in most of the Hollywood movies with those big black eyes, the long arms, and they're really skinny with the oval head. Those are the Greys. But get this, the Greys weren't once always looking like that. I mean, they weren't always looking like that. At one point, they were actually humanoids. They were humanoids, but due to a devastating nuclear holocaust that happened in their planet about 500 million years ago, the remaining humanoid population of planet Apix, which is where they originated, decided to go into the underground, and in order to prevent a natural holocaust or another nuclear war, which was caused by emotional some sort of emotions that they couldn't overcome. It was an emotional thing. They decided to do away with that aspect of themselves. And so you know what they did? They genetically eliminated their sex organs. Yes. So because they couldn't reproduce naturally anymore, and reproduction is a natural part of all species in existence, they decided to use cloning. They decided to go with artificial intelligence, cybernetic technology. And after millions of years of using cloning, their own species began to die out. And that's why they're traveling back in time to our present in order to, conduct these abductions, to extract DNA from us in an effort to save their species. So that's just their story. But they've been working with the Draco. Eventually the Draco captured them from the Apix system, which was in Lyra, and transferred them over to the Rambola system, which occupies Zeta Reticula 1 and Zeta Reticula 2. So that's where they come from mostly. Okay, so who are the positives? Who are the extraterrestrials that are in our favor, that are here to help us?
Pleiadians.
Say that again?
The Pleiadians. The
Pleiadians, that's one of them. The Pleiadians are a main group. Yeah, they're one of the most primary groups that have been assisting humanity for thousands of years. In the religious texts, they're actually known as the angels. When we study the Bible, when we study the ancient Sumerian tablets, when we study the Rig Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, thank you, the different scriptures from India, the Vedas, they all talk about these angelic beings that are humanoid, that come from the heavens, that come from heaven to earth, and that assist us. Give us information, give us knowledge, and protect us. Well, they're talking about the Pleiadians. So the Pleiadians are our brothers and sisters from the cluster constellation of the Pleiadians. Not to mention, our solar system is actually also part of that family of stars known as the Pleiadians. So our sun, known as Alcyone, known as, forget the name of our sun, Helios, sorry, drawing a blank here. But Helios...
Melchior?
Melchior is the name of our galaxy. Thank you. Our sun, Helios, is part of the cluster, is known as the 8th missing star within the Pleiadians star system cluster of families. So Helios is connected to the Alcyone. Alcyone is the central sun of the Pleiadians. So we're known as the 8th missing star. Most people associate the Pleiadians with the 7 sisters, right? We see that in mythology when we study about Greek mythology. When we study, the different ancient cultures, they talk about the 7 stars or the 7 sisters that pour knowledge into the earth. Well, a lot of that has to do with the concept of the Pleiadians being our parent race. And yes, they are our parent race. I guess this is the perfect time to let you guys all know that most civilizations out there are populated by humanoid species. The idea that there's little green man and, monster-looking like species, that's all Hollywood. It turns out that every civilization in every galaxy, in every universe, was made in the image of the one creator. They call it the Adam Kadmon, the Adama, right? Adam and Eve. So Adam and Eve isn't unique to our world. In fact, the original Adam and Eve was developed 560 million years ago in the constellation of Lyra, in the star system of Vega. So if you really, really, really want to question everything we've been taught regarding Darwinian evolution and creation, that we've only been here for 5,000-6,000 years, that Adam and Eve were created 5,000-6,000 years ago, and it all began there. That's all a lie in order to conceal the truth of our extraterrestrial heritage. Because in essence, our real ancestors, all humanities, all humanoid races originated in Lyra. From Lyra, is this new to some of you people? I just want to, okay, to some, okay. Okay, I just want to make sure, because, I want to make sure that those people that are here are getting a thorough understanding of the extraterrestrial connection. So those are our ancestors. We come from Lyra. From Lyra, our ancestors, who were very peaceful, gradually populated into other solar systems. And one of the star systems that they populated is the Pleiades. They also went to the Hadar system. I guess some of these systems don't really make any sense. But the whole point is this, is that the majority of alien species are humanoid. About 75 to 80% of the population in the multiverse is humanoid people.
Can you explain what you mean by humanoid exactly?
Yeah, humanoid means that they would look like us. Like Superman, Thor, if they come down from planet Krypton or planet Asgard, and if they just put on a jeans and a shirt with shoes and take off their togas or their space outfits, they could blend right with us and we wouldn't even know that they're aliens. That's what I mean by humanoid. There is a common ancestry throughout the cosmos, people, regarding our lineage. So we don't come from apes. If you thought we originated in Africa, that's false. If you thought we had any connection to the primitives of the Neanderthal family and the Homo erectus, Homo robustus, that's also false. The truth is, we were seeded.
But weren't the monkeys seated, and that's why we have the missing link?
Well, the monkeys are part of the concept of the evolution from the bottom up. Yeah, it's this idea that, you have the various kingdoms, right? You have the mineral kingdom, and then above the mineral kingdom, you have the plant kingdom. And then above the plant kingdom, you have the animal kingdom. And then above the animal kingdom, then you have the human kingdom. So the difference is that the primitives are part of the animal kingdom. There is no distinction, there is no similarities between us and them. The human kingdom actually was descending from above. We started off in the higher dimensions. Our real origin was in the 12th dimension. If I could go a little deeper now. I'm going to go a little deeper, okay? Let's go a little deeper. All right. Okay, so our multi-dimensional time matrix, known as the holographic reality, is a 12-dimensional type of system where we exist in 12 dimensions. Even aspects of us, people, exist in other dimensions. So even though we're here in the 3rd dimension, there's different aspects of our consciousness and, parts of ourselves that are multidimensional all the way to the 12th dimension. So we are multidimensional beings. We just so happen to only know, perceive, and exist of this dimension here known as the 3rd dimension. But the other ones are still there, okay? So even the Earth is a multidimensional entity. Just like all planets, stars, and galaxies and universes, they're all living entities, and they're consciousness, they have feelings, they're sentient. So our entire universe exists within 12 dimensions, just like us. It's a hologram. Every fractal contains the whole. So if the universe exists within 12 dimensions, then we exist within 12 dimensions. There's no difference. Okay, so our real origin is spiritual luminal, not this crude physical, biological vessel, which is just an avatar. So we should start thinking of reality as a simulation in a way. Because in essence, nothing is really solid. There is no matter. It's just energy vibrating at different frequencies. And that's what distinguishes the different dimensional rates of the different levels and frequencies called dimensions is the rate of vibration. The higher we vibrate, the more subtle and the less dense we become. The lower we vibrate, the more crude and gross physical matter we become. It doesn't matter in which direction you go in the scale, but it's all connected and it's all part of the light energy spectrum, which is only one. So it's almost like these 12 dimensions extended from a one singular consciousness. That consciousness, which I talk about in my book, by the way, I talk about how there's really overall 3 different planes of reality. There is the infinity, the realms of eternity, which is that pure consciousness that one day decided to explore more of itself because it got bored. So it started dividing itself, it started fragmentalizing, it started lowering its frequency. And then that's how the 15-dimensional, or what we call the 12-dimensional time matrix was born. It's all a simulation. So even the 3rd-dimensional reality, which is the lowest condensed, lowest form of simulation, exists within the 4th-dimensional simulation reality. The 4th-dimensional simulation reality exists within the 5th dimension. It's all simulations, and the only thing that is pure-based consciousness, or what we call pure reality, that is not a simulation, is the realms of infinity, which is where we all come from. So, to answer your question, our spirits descended. It was a matter of involution with the I-N-V, not evolution. We descended from those higher frequencies all the way to the 3rd dimension. So there is no there is no similarities between us and the animal kingdom. You know, the animal kingdom is, but at the same time, they served a purpose where involution, spirit descends into matter, right? We start from the higher frequencies, right? We were light beings first, then we became etheric, and then we became physical. So there's 3 overall planes of reality. There is the eternity, which is the always existing realms, pure light, and then light becomes ether, right? Like like when you put a light through the prism, it reflects the different spectral colors. That's the ether. So we were first light. We have always been light, and that's why our spirit is immortal. So when somebody tries to do something to our physical body, they're only doing it to this vehicle that is operating in the 3rd dimension. But remember, you exist in all the way up to the 12th dimension. There's different aspects of you. There's different avatar vehicles that exist in these other dimensions. So from the top down, we've always been luminal light. And then we became ether. We became mind. And then we became matter. And that is the current understanding of our composition as multidimensional beings in physical human form. So we are spirit, mind, and matter. But we were always spirit and mind. Yes?
Do we have to keep doing this physical process? Like it seems like a lot of energy, I don't want to say wasted, but it seems like coming down from such a high evolutionary place into matter. Is it necessary that we keep coming back here, like how we are right now? Do we have to keep coming back?
That's a very good question.